Hey, welcome back to the Woodworking Talk Show. Before we get started, I want to thank Next Insurance for sponsoring this portion of the video. Whether you're selling woodworking projects or you just have like a weird job, like making YouTube videos full time, no matter what kind of small business you have, one of the biggest considerations is insurance. If you're self-employed or a business owner, you need insurance. Hey, Jay and Jaimie, when you're out shopping for Halloween props, do you ever stop and think, I sure wish I was shopping for insurance instead?
All the time.
Yeah, every single time.
No, you don't.
If it was only that easy.
Next Insurance makes this whole process fast and easy. Get covered right from your phone in just 10 minutes. Insurance, you know what it is? I was thinking about this. Insurance is one of those signs of adulthood. My son, I'm getting off on a tangent here. When my son he got his first apartment down in Santa Cruz. He went to UC Santa Cruz, and he came to me one day and he said, that he thinks that his adolescence was officially over when he had to spend good money to buy a plunger. And I thought, that's probably true. Nobody in their right mind wants to buy a plunger. It's just one of those things.
It's like a reactionary purchase, for sure.
And then it's like, I am now an adult. I had to buy a damn plunger. Next has competitive pricing, up to 30% less because it's done online and direct to you. Plus, you can pay monthly, so it's easy on your cash flow. Next is dedicated to small businesses, and it's tailored for your specific business. This is not a one-size-fits-all policy. They have over 1,300 different policies with coverage that's accurate to what you do and your risks. You can get a COI instantly. That's proof of insurance. You'd use that when it's relevant for your profession. Next is a one-stop shop for all your business insurance needs: liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, property. Click the link down in the description to get a quote with Next today. Hey, I want to thank Next Insurance for sponsoring that part of my video. Now let's get on to talking to the Wicked Makers. On February 2nd, 2018, Jaimie, Nakae, and Jay Grenier posted their first video to YouTube showing how they made a D&D dice tower. And they even incorporated their brand new skull logo on that very first project. I thought that was really a cool thing to do. That dice tower, by the way, is just gorgeous. Was that like zebra wood? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, that was zebra wood. Yep. That was my second time working with zebra wood, so
was it?
I was kind of faking it till I make it there, but it looked pretty good. Yeah, it came out great.
Do you guys still play D&D, or you got a couple toddlers now? It probably makes it.
Yeah,
do you?
I mean, we have 2 young kids, so that kind of stuff has been a little harder recently. But we actually have a D&D stream, on Twitch and everything. So
really,
we are avid fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's my son's the same way. He does was it Roll20? Is that the
that's
the
what we
online
use as well.
D&D? He plays twice a week. He's working now, so it's kind of the same way with him. It's harder for him to schedule the time, but it's kind of weird because he started doing the online version during the pandemic last year, and now they're kind of like, we kind of prefer this in a way.
That's happening to a lot of folks. Yeah.
Are you guys like that, or do you kind of?
I definitely miss having people come over to the house and the social, just hanging out aspect of it. But it's nice to do it online because we're able to play with our friends in California. So we wouldn't be able to do that otherwise.
Scheduling's a heck of a lot ever too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I played first edition D&D. That's all I've experienced.
That's great.
It was like 84 maybe. So I think it was probably first edition, but we kind of made up our own version of it, I think. I don't remember. It's been so long. But now I'm kind of reliving it all through Wyatt playing it.
Yeah, it's had a huge resurgence, and there's a lot of like woodworking and creativity associated with the game too. People make like dice towers and dice boxes and vaults, and
like full-on gaming tables. And
like just giant tables that have all sorts of mechanisms in them for holding your equipment, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I made him last year a D&D dice box. It was a red dragon on the top of it. I thought that was pretty cool. He really liked that. And he's like, every D&D player collects millions of dice, It's kind of the thing. anyways, after about 7 months in September 2018, Jaimie and Jay seemed to discover what really resonated with viewers and what their channel would largely be about, making spooky props and decorations perfect for Halloween, or, if you're like me, perfect decor all year round. And although these projects are super professional looking, they're all very approachable for almost any DIYer. This, along with their on-camera chemistry, explain why their videos get so many views. So, whether you want to make some tombstones, a witch's cauldron, or your own dark portal to hell, or maybe you just want to wrap your body in duct tape, Wicked Makers is the channel for you. Hey, Jaimie and Jay, thanks for joining me and welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, I made it sound like all of your videos are Halloween related, but they're not really, because like your two most popular videos are, let's see, you had a half pipe, DIY half pipe, and a smart mirror. The smart mirror is just, I think that's probably your most popular video, isn't it?
Yeah, that was kind of a runaway. Yeah, we've kind of been a variety DIY channel for the most part since we started, but I think, as you rightly put, Halloween props and just general decor and trying to make really cool looking props very approachable has kind of been something that's really caught on for us.
Yeah, you just did one last week, which was the skeleton drinking, endless drinking out of the bottle of wine bottle. God, that was so cool. It's like, so I think a lot of your projects, you must be inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean and Disneyland, I'm sure.
For sure, yeah. I grew up going to Disneyland, and when I went to school, it was like one of my dreams to become an Imagineer, which never ended up happening, but I was definitely, inspired by all the artistry that Disneyland has, and recreating those is just a lot of fun for us.
I think the first video I ever saw of yours was the fire in the windows. You make it out of fabric. It looks like there's fire going on inside the house. And I think I first saw that on Pirates of the Caribbean, I think. And I remember getting close to that after seeing it, I don't know how many times. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. That's just like fabric. Boy, it looks so realistic.
Yeah, that one, we tried it. We weren't expecting it to look so realistic when we first thought about the project. And I remember telling Jay, like, okay, I got this idea. Pirates of the Caribbean does it. We're going to take some fabric and put a fan under it and some lights. And he's like, that's never going to work. I'm like, just trust me.
I honestly thought it was going to look so dumb. And I was like, how can this look? Like, how can this possibly look that good? It's literally a sheet and a fan. And it blew my mind. And I remember standing out in the street the first night we did it. And I was just being like, oh man, like we're going to have to, I remember thinking we're going to have to call the fire department to let them know this is fake. So, yeah. Most of our projects start out that way, actually. It's Jaimie just having an insane idea that I'm not too sure about, and then it turns out to be amazing.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, was what is the breakdown between who comes up with the ideas most likely? Is it Jaimie?
Halloween ideas, yeah. That's my realm. I love looking at, what's been done before and, how we can change it up and make it approachable. And I've always loved decorating for Halloween. So that's my realm.
I always end up in the Jaimie will come up with a really interesting idea that invariably I'm always like, really? Okay, sure. I mean, I trust your judgment, trust you creatively. And then it ends up being amazing. But I kind of get to go along for the ride because more often than not, I can't visualize it the way she can, So, helping with execution, and then it usually turns into something pretty wild.
So let's take it back to how you guys got your start doing this. And I think you both kind of have a tech background. Is that right? And are you both, I know, Jay, are you still employed outside of the house? So YouTube is just your part-time gig.
Yeah, we both have a background in art. I went to art school at USC, and Jay went to animation school. And right out of college, I worked at a bunch of different special effects houses. So I worked at Stan Winston's and Petrus Totopoulos and Spectral Motion. So I learned a lot of little tricks of the trade there. So I learned about working with foam and, you know, different painting techniques and molds and all that stuff, and makeup effects. My career then switched to marketing, and I worked in marketing at DreamWorks Animation. So still in that, you know, creative space. And I was there for a really long time until we moved out to Texas. And then when we moved to Texas, I worked at a studio that did YouTube videos. So it was called Rooster Teeth. And there I learned all about how to market videos for YouTube and how to, you know, brand yourself and package that.
My story is way less interesting. I went to animation school after many years of doing all sorts of weird stuff. I had probably like 100 jobs. And then in my late 20s, I went to animation school and I always loved gymnastics and martial arts and stuff. So I like body mechanics. So animation kind of like gravitated in that direction. And then worked at animation studios for a while, worked in game industry, and eventually I got a job I'm actually still there, as you said. I work at basically a motion capture technology firm. And we do all sorts of animation related software and products and stuff like that. So, and some of it still translates over, like even just the drinking skeleton, you know, like figuring out the ideal pose and understanding the kind of, you know, the weight shifting and the position of the arm and stuff like that. So, so I have kind of a technology and engineering background mixed with a bit of art, which we try to squeeze into the videos whenever we can.
Where did you guys meet? In California? I assume you were out in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Los Angeles. We were both there for 10 years or
Yeah,
something?
we were both there for 10 years. We were both rock climbers. And so we met through that. And our first date was actually to a rock climbing gym. It wasn't actually supposed to be a date, but then it turned out to be a date.
Yeah.
That's an awesome first date.
It was fun.
You know, I just started rock climbing a few weeks ago. I'm totally obsessed with it. It's like my entire life.
It's so good. It's one of my favorite things.
It's fascinating because it's a good physical activity. I'm learning to use my legs more than my arms. I had to learn that early on because I was just totally getting wrecked, you know, pulling myself up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a puzzle. Every route you kind of have to figure it out.
It's very cerebral. It's very much like you perfectly said it. You know, it's a very physically demanding sport, but you're solving a puzzle the whole time. You know, you're using your mind. You're trying to figure out the right way to approach a problem, and you know, use the skills that you have at the time to try to overcome it. So, it's a fantastic sport.
You do bouldering too?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you do.
Yeah. We had our son is 3 now, and so it's been a couple of years since we've spent any serious time in the climbing gym. Plus, you know, pandemic, etc. But we're both big fans.
Yeah, hoping to get back into it very soon. They're building a gym like right down the street from us, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's what they did here. They just like down in San Rafael, so it's like 10 minutes away, less than 10 minutes, and it just opened up like 3-4 weeks ago. I'm like, awesome. Yes, I'm there. I thought I'll go check it out. I've heard about this. Now I'm there all the time. Yeah, I can't get enough of it. It's so fun. Learned how to belay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What made you guys start the YouTube channel? Was there any like one defining moment where you're like, you know what we need to do is a YouTube channel?
I remember that moment. Do you?
Yes, but it was your idea, so you should tell it.
We were coming home from the Rooster Teeth Christmas party, and Rooster Teeth is this amazing organization filled with these really talented content creators, and obviously Jaimie had been working with a lot of them, and I just remember thinking we could do that. You know, we know how to use cameras. We can make stuff like. If you line up all the skills required, I remember checking all the boxes, being like, between us, we could do those things. And then I got really inspired, like on a drive home, and then that was it. Fell down the rabbit hole from there.
And why the Dice Tower? Just because you were just so into D&D, and you're like, yes, this is a good project. It's woodworking. Let's do this.
I think we wanted something that was woodworking, but also kind of had that geekier edge to it. So it would kind of, give people an idea of what the channel was going to be about.
I remember I wanted to come out of the gate strong too, with a project that was visually appealing and had a bit of, I suppose, there was complexity to it in that, it wasn't necessarily ultra complicated to make, but it demonstrated our skill, and just looked really cool, and I do remember agonizing over it for a while though, like trying to figure out, what is the right first video. And
we agonized about all of our videos for the first few years, because being a variety channel, well, so we do a woodworking one, and then is it okay if we do one that has tech, and then can we do a Halloween one, but then can we go back to woodworking? Will the audience still stay with us? It was interesting.
Yeah.
Do you still see your channel as a variety channel, or do you really want to lean into the Halloween and spooky stuff more?
That's a great question.
It's something we still ask ourselves. We're not, I don't know.
Yeah, we get a lot of traction this time of year. It's very exciting. There's so many people are just so excited about everything we're doing. But it is seasonal. On November 1st, traffic kind of just dives off a cliff, so
Right.
it's very, very, very exciting. And then it's not. We tend to, I don't like to think of us as just a Halloween channel. It's just that's where we always get the most traction. And I think most people know us for, but, I think we still intend to do other types of videos and just have fun, making things. And
last year we did take an unintended 9-month break, I think, between videos. So it ended up being Halloween video rolling right into the new season Halloween video. But that was primarily because we had a new baby, and it was just a lot of work.
Yeah, I know last year it was pretty funny because you did the DIY candy shoot. It was like the social distance candy delivery system. I thought that was that was a great idea.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I remember we had we had got a comment on one of our Halloween videos that there was someone who was asking for a socially distant way of distributing candy. And we're like, that's a great idea. And
that was another video where we were like, hey, we have this random idea. Let's just give it a shot. And then it was like, just got all over the news and all that kind of stuff. So that was really fun.
That's amazing.
I think that's kind of what, I don't know, what inspires me about YouTube the most is people were genuinely so excited to have a solution, and something that they could make themselves. And I'm sure you experience this a lot with your woodworking channel, where people kind of look at it like, hey, I don't know if I can do this. Right. And then they come away from your video being like, oh, I can do this. I'm going to go do this. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of alluded to that in my intro, but that's really one of the best parts about your channel is that the projects you make are so professional looking. I mean, they do look like Imagineer kind of stuff you would see at Disneyland. I mean, and yet you take us along that journey on those videos and show exactly how you're doing it. And I'm watching it thinking, oh yeah, I could totally do that. It's not rocket science. Well, until you bring in Arduino and stuff, but for, the computerized stuff is
also not rocket science. You could do that too.
I probably, yeah. And you have, that was the cool thing is that portal you made, you did I forget what it was called, a portal to hell or something.
The dark portal, we call it.
Dark portal, that's it. And it was just so cool
internally we called it the portal to hell, but probably not the best title for YouTube.
Probably not. See, I wore my YouTube shirt today.
I know, by the way, I love this shirt. It's
I wore it for the Halloween, yeah. I get comments on that, I'm sure. But I saw that dark portal and I thought, what is that? Like a big flat screen TV or something? Because it looks so real, and yet it's like a projector, right? Just projecting on this thing. But I don't even know how would you describe that to somebody who's just listening to this podcast of what that is, and describe how amazing it looks.
So the frame of the Dark Portal is made of insulation foam. And we took the foam comes in like big 4x8 sheets. So we made, 2 columns with it and a big old top. And we used a bunch of different techniques to make the foam look like stone. So one of those was, carving it out with like a big old rasp. There's a cool technique where you spray it with a spray bottle with water, and then you hit it with a heat gun, and it makes all these like little crackly texture things that look so much like stone. And then we covered it in this thing called Trilock, which is a sandy...
it's a masonry sealer, actually.
Masonry sealer. So another thing you can just get at, Home Depot or Lowe's or something. And then, let's see, then we painted it. We carved some like awesome spellcasting runes in the front and just threw some LED strips right in the inside of it. And then...
Also, it's 8 feet tall.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's very, very large. About 6 feet wide. And
then you want to talk about the projection part of it?
Yeah, so it has an open... It's basically a doorway. You almost picture like a Stonehenge type thing. So in the middle, there's about a 6 foot tall doorway. It's about 3 feet wide. And we planned the doorway to be 16:9 aspect ratio so that we could then put a projector at just the right amount behind it. And it back projects against a sheet of... It's basically a special kind of... It's basically just a sheet. It's like a sheet of fabric.
It's mesh, so you can see through it when it's dark out.
Yeah, it's so you project from the rear, and we tilted a projector on its side, and we created a video that basically looks like a swirling portal. And if you stand at the right angle, kind of out in front of it, and it's dark enough, it looks real. I mean, it
seriously does. I mean, it's really incredible to see that thing.
Yeah, it's really neat. And then the light, one of the things that's really cool about the projection itself is that the light from the projection actually casts light all over the portal. So it looks like the portal itself is being lit by the actual swirling portal, if that makes sense. But so that was a great example of a project where I said, well, I don't know how to do this, but I'll follow Jaime's lead and, just take it one step at a time. And it came out absolutely amazing.
It reminds me of an episode of Star Trek, the original series. I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek at all, but it was the Guardian of Forever. It was this thing where they would jump through it, and they ended up back in like old Earth.
Yeah. Totally. And we were inspired by
I just wanted to jump through there,
Yeah, like Stargate as well, something like that, and big inspiration from Warcraft. That whole universe with their dark portal. There's just like a lot. It's like a classic sci-fi thing, We just wanted to see what we could do with it.
Do you hear from people who make those projects?
Yes. Yeah, people post pictures all the time. They'll send us pictures on Instagram or in our Discord channel, and we love seeing those. We've seen people build them out of foam. I saw one guy who built his out of cardboard, which still looked like really cool. And I think we posted it really late in the season last year, so we didn't see that many last year, but this year, tons of people.
Have you guys always been into this kind of stuff, or is this like a match made in heaven? When you guys met each other, you're like, do you like spooky, kind of a little bit creepy stuff? Yeah, man, I'm into it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Especially because we didn't meet because of that. And it was just like, wait, you like that stuff too? Oh, wow, we're in.
Especially if there's pirates involved. If I can involve pirates somehow, Jay is definitely in.
I'm in with the pirates.
Yeah, I kind of did notice a pirate theme running through a lot of your videos there.
Yeah. I love you called out earlier, the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, like anything from the film or the ride or just pirates in general. Like, I'm into it. I love it.
Have you been to both Pirates rides on the Florida and Disneyland versions?
You haven't been to Florida yet.
I have never been to Disney World.
Oh.
Which is where...
I went when I was a kid, but...
Yeah, when the kids are old enough, we're taking them for sure. But...
Well, I didn't go. The first time I went to Disney World was just a few years ago. After being at Disneyland, I don't know how many times. We go several times a year. And I don't know, it was okay.
Really?
I'm so into Disneyland. You know, a Disneyland has a certain charm to it because it's just so established and it's so small and it's contained. And but yeah, some of the rides are just definitely better at Disneyland. I'll get in a fight with somebody over that, I'm sure. But,
Interesting.
Insert comments here. Go.
I know. Yeah, definitely.
Haunted Mansion and like just all that stuff at Disneyland is, yeah. I mean, you know, the Disney World has tons of charm as well, but Disneyland, I think I totally agree with you.
I think that the Haunted Mansion has one of their most famous gimmicks. It's not a gimmick. It's effect. That's the word I'm looking for. Is Pepper's Ghost, where you've got the it's like a two-way glass, right? And then so a ghost sits in between the two people on the ride. It's a very cool effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they use that twice. So they use it in the scene where there's the big table where all the ghosts are having the dinner,
the banquet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so on that one, the actual ghosts are below you, and then you got the big pane of glass there, and so it reflects. That's how that one works. And then I'm not sure how the one at the end works, where the ghost is sitting behind you. I think they're just on the other side of the pane of glass there. We've been trying to figure out how to do a Pepper's Ghost effect in our haunt, but have not quite figured out like the best way to hide the prop, I guess.
What's your house like at Halloween? Are you like that house on the neighborhood that's like completely everybody? It's a destination house.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
God, I want to go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The local news shows up usually.
Really?
Just because it's we used to do a this has never made it to YouTube yet, but because I have access to motion capture equipment from my job, we did a live talking skeleton a few years in a row where the kid
it's a projection. Yeah, we made a skeleton monster, and then we projected onto our front door. So he's like, I don't know, like 3 feet tall. He's just his head. And Jay sits behind the scenes, and we've got a camera set up so he can see the kids, and the speakers so he can talk to the kids. And
it's like a Wizard of Oz thing. So it's like a giant floating head, and the kids walk up and they think it's like, they think it's just a video or something. And then I'm like, hey kid, yeah, you in the Batman costume. Yeah. What are you doing? How's your night going? And he's like, me? Oh. Just all night long. It's so much fun. And then combined with like, there's like a dark portal and there's like tombstones everywhere, and just kids just lose their mind coming to our house, which it's fun.
Have you guys thought about doing like a full scale like walk-through attraction, like a haunt? Or is that kind of what you have there?
And we've thought about, like, as far as, like, you making a big, like, commercial one or doing a walkthrough at our house.
Well, I don't know if you want people walking through your house, but, like, some sort of corridors.
Come in our living room. It's fun.
But I always thought it would be kind of fun to, like, even just with some plywood or something, you could sort of make sort of like a rudimentary walk-through area in like a yard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, one day we'll do that. But that requires, like... actors and people to work it, and there's a lot. I remember going to a few when I lived in California. There were some really nice ones there. They were just in people's front yards or garages. One day, we'll do that, but probably not in the near future.
Yeah, we end up with so many things to do this time of year, and it's always a hard choice, to choose. Like, okay, we've got basically two months, which seems like a long time until suddenly it's halfway through September, and you're like, oh no.
So you're already setting up now.
We're setting up our outside. We actually just started setting up our outside stuff, and then we'll probably have it all set up by like beginning of October. Mm-hmm. Yeah, takes a little while. And it's like weather permitting too, things like that. It's still pretty hot here in Texas right now.
Yeah, I mean, you live in a good climate for that. I don't think you have to worry about too much inclement weather in Austin, right?
Yeah, except for the rain.
It rains.
Right.
And are you in California?
I am. I'm up in the Bay Area. I'm in Marin County.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we've got one of those neighborhoods across the freeway from us, and I don't know if it was like this where you are, but there's like pockets of Halloween neighborhoods, whereas like our neighborhood is just dead. I mean that in the non-fun sense of the dead. But it's like nothing. Nobody does anything. So we get no trick-or-treaters or nothing. But if you just go a mile over, there's like a whole neighborhood, huge, where there's like every single house and it's like a block party. There's like people handing out not just candy, but like handing out beer and wine and for the adults. And it's so cool. But yeah, when my son was little, we used to always go trick-or-treating over there.
That's awesome. Our neighborhood isn't quite that cool, but it's getting there. People definitely participate, which is awesome. And we get, like I said, tons of kids every year. I think the parents drive the kids over from all different neighborhoods to come check out our street.
Well, now everybody's got to try to keep up with your house, They're like, oh man.
We've only had one random YouTube viewer show up at our house and
really
say they wanted to see the fire. I was like, how did you know where we live? This is weird.
That's a little weird.
Can you do a tour of your Halloween house this year and put it on YouTube?
Maybe. We get asked that every year, and we never end up actually getting to it. But
maybe this year
someday,
we will.
Someday we will for sure.
I want to see it. You can just send it to me. That's fine. Look at it. Yeah. If somebody wants to somebody who wants to decorate their house for Halloween, they don't have anything, but they're like, yeah, I really want to do Halloween. I've got say like $100. Where would be how would you spend $100 to get like the most bang for your buck to do some really cool stuff for Halloween?
That is a really good question.
I'm assuming this person's also a DIYer, so they know the basic things, how to build things.
I think tombstones are pretty effective and pretty easy to make. They were one of my very first Halloween props that I ever built was tombstones. You can freeform them. You really only need something to cut foam with and then something to carve your letters with. Although for my first tombstones, I didn't even carve the letters. I just found a stencil and painted them on. But they're pretty easy to make. The foam is relatively affordable. But you can also make them out of cheaper foam. You make them out of the white foam. That's I forget. Just like it's kind of the standard packing foam that you use. And
also plywood. A lot of people make like I think plywoods are maybe not with today's lumber prices, but if you have. A lot of people just have old plywood laying around, or even like old fence pickets and stuff like that. You can kind of get that. Basically, just try to take some old wood and turn those into tombstones is a good way. But I do agree. I think a cemetery is usually a pretty good start, and you really only need like 5 or 6 tombstones. with some clever epitaphs on them.
It's about what's written on them, right?
Yeah, and you can go real silly with it, with like full of puns, or you can have like kind of go for a more realistic thing. You get to bring some kind of make it your own as you make those. From there, I would probably go with some basic lights, which I think is I think that's the thing that people forget about most often is you can have a gorgeous cemetery that looks really nice in the daytime, and then as soon as it gets dark, no one can see it. So we tend to use just some of those outdoor floodlights, which they're not like Halloween lights. They're just kind of outdoor things.
But you can put gels over them, or I think we have some that we put gels over, which is just colored plastic, and then we have some where they're LEDs, so you can change the color with the remote.
And a really affordable way to make gels are basically colored plastic that you can put over lights to turn the light a different color. So like, for example, if you wanted to make a deep purple light, you take a purple piece of transparent plastic, which if you go online and you say, I want to buy lighting gels, they're going to be really expensive. Or you go to CVS or Walgreens and buy transparent, folders for your kids' school. And they're the same exact thing.
The dividers and stuff. Yeah, totally works.
It's just clear, it's like transparent purple plastic, and you just duct tape those around a little floodlight, and boom, purple lighting. And now you kind of aim that at your tombstones and DIY lighting effects. There you go.
And Goodwill probably becomes one of your favorite places to go to.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Putting costumes together and stuff. Yeah.
Just like generally the idea of upcycling stuff is always really fun, because a lot of a lot of like with any sort of prop making in general, often aging things or making them look like they've existed in the world for a long time is one of the most important aspects of making it look good, you know. And like a tombstone, right? Like old tombstones are sometimes hundreds of years old, right? So they're chipped, you know, they're wind blown, there's lichen and moss on them, you know, there's just this dirt and grime from endless storms. And so you can make things look old or just actually use old stuff as a starting point. And that actually oftentimes is a good shortcut.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed when you did the mummy, another cool project. That was the one where you got wrapped up in duct tape. Jaime wrapped you all up.
Trust exercise.
Yeah, man. It looked a little bit, I think I would have gotten a little nervous there with that completely wrapped up. So yeah, she like completely wrapped you in duct tape, right? And then had to cut you out of it.
But it was sections. Like, so we wrapped the legs, and then we cut the legs off, and then wrapped the, you know, the middle.
Yeah.
And then cut all that off, and then did the head. So he was never like completely wrapped up.
It sure felt like it though.
She was tempted there for a moment.
We've been married a couple of years at that point, so it was okay.
Well, we should say also when you put like plastic wrap over, so the duct tape wasn't sticking to your.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But I think it was just a really cool way to make like a body form is by using, because the duct tape has kind of a structure to it. And once so what you did, well, I could let you describe it a little bit better. You wrapped it around you and then cut it apart, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we wrapped Jay up in saran wrap, and then, you know, wrapped duct tape up, duct tape all around him, and then cut it off. And when you seal it back together and stuff it, it keeps the original shape of, you know, whatever you wrap. So a lot of people, you use that technique to like make dress forms when they're making clothes, or like if you're making armor for yourself, you can do that and then cut it up and use that as your template for, you know, making armor. Or, you know, in our case, we just stuffed him, stuffed duct tape Jay.
Yeah, it holds its form, but it will collapse. So I think we stuffed it with like.
Yeah, we put a big old wire up the center of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like just a piece of I don't know, probably 3/16 inch steel wire, just to give it like some structure. Mm-hmm. We didn't do a full armature with all the arms and stuff, but I think it was literally just like a single piece. It was like a spine,
yeah.
Yeah, like a very long, like from toe to top of the head. And then we stuffed it with newspaper, as much.
And junk mail.
Yes, junk mail. There you go, upcycling.
Right.
Take all that junk mail and stuff it in a mummy. There you go.
And so do you have a dedicated storage space for all this stuff you make every year where you have to just like haul it all back out?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a shed in the back, and it's about half full now of Halloween stuff.
We've gotten really good at organizing it, though.
Yes.
And you've got a 3-year-old and then a newborn, right? Or
yeah, she just turned one a couple months ago. So. Yeah.
Well, and what does the 3-year-old think of it? He's probably just now starting to get the idea of Halloween and everything.
He used to be more into it. I think he's getting to the age now where he's a little afraid of things. So like we'll go into Home Depot and he sees all the Halloween stuff and he's like, get me out of here. But before, when he was, 2, he was totally cool with it. So we hope that early exposure would,
Yeah, it will.
Make him be okay with it.
Desensitize them early.
He loves our videos.
He does love our videos.
My son has been this season while he's going back to school, but he's working as assistant manager at the Spirit Halloween store here.
Nice.
And I think that's one of the fun things about working there is they've got all these animatronics there that you step on, and just to watch kids come in there and just step on those things and just terrify them,
Yeah.
But yeah, people come in there and they like try to put together a costume. And I think that's the coolest thing. Rather than just buying a costume, you buy this and that and try to assemble your own thing. And one of the things you did with the mummy to make that look, the gauze look aged, like you were talking about, was you just like soaked it in tea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we soaked it in tea for a couple hours and then, rolled it back out and let it dry in the sun. Yeah. And then I think I did some paint. I watered down some acrylic paint and did some extra wash layers on top of that just to make, extra like dark areas. But tea staining is a pretty good effect for aging clothes. I think have we used it in any other projects?
We use tea. We use black tea a lot. It's just like weird. It's just always kind of.
It is. I made a Ouija board a few years ago for Halloween video, and that's what I used was tea on that. And it looks really cool. Looks
It has a good color to it, and it's very easy to make.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that was in your your finishing video. I don't remember, but
right. No, I did have a video on that kind of stuff, on like all natural wood stains and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So let me ask you. I'm going to ask you each this. Jaime, what is Jay's strengths when it comes to what you two do here? And then I'll ask you the same thing.
What is his strengths?
She's gonna have to think for a while.
Jay's like, I already know the answer to this. I can answer that.
He's good at helping make sure that things are structurally sound, aren't going to like collapse and kill small children, which would be really
Yeah,
bad.
that would be bad.
Also, he's our visionary with making thumbnails, and he is the editor. So all of the editing you see is Jay. So he is our primary video maker there, and then all the camera work and all that is all Jay.
He's still thinking.
No, there's so many things.
Well, I know Jaime comes up with a lot of the ideas.
Yeah. No, she's so good at everything. Obviously the ideas like we talked about are a big one because I'm not an ideas out of nowhere person. I tend to riff off of other people's, stuff and really get inspired by looking out at what others have done and trying to make it my own. But Jamie's that person who can she'll just wake up in the morning and I have this idea. We're going to make a dark portal that's 8 feet tall, and, like that kind of stuff. Right. So that is huge. And I love being able to experience that and just, like I said, go along the ride. And then also you have this secret talent for engineering that comes out every once in a while where, you'll just know something about the way some materials are going to work together or, some sort of random stuff like that I just have never experienced or thought about. And you'll just know how these, from your effects days of, paper mache or the way clay works with the thing, stuff like that. So, yeah.
I think we work really well together. I think we trust each other to explore different ideas, and if I have a crazy technique, Jay's all for it, and same. If Jay's has an idea, I'm like, all right, let's try it.
Yeah, that comes across on your videos. You guys, you have this really good chemistry. It's real fun to watch you guys, even if somebody's not going to make those projects, it's fun watching you guys along the way, get to that point.
Yeah, we have fun making them. And the thing about Halloween props is it's not like we've ever made whatever it is before. Like we've never made a cauldron before or a mummy. We actually made one before, but most of them we've never made before. So it's our first time doing a thing. So we're having fun, learning about it together and taking y'all on the ride with us.
Yeah. Do you have plans for your YouTube channel as far as, is that something you want to expand on, or are you just perfectly happy just kind of keeping it a little hobby right now? Although it's more than a hobby. You guys get some pretty good views on those videos. You got over 200,000 views on that skeleton just last week. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that we really, really enjoy doing it, but also it's not our job, and that affords us the luxury of not needing to worry about it too much. And I think, as soon as you go full time, I think it doesn't necessarily force change, but I think it creates a little more pressure where we've got to be thinking about doing videos all the time. Where right now, if we want to take a few months off because our kids are growing up, then that's totally fine, and I think for where we're at right now, that's been working pretty well for us. And whenever we get really inspired, we can make videos. But we don't feel like we have to make them all the time. Whether or not that evolves into something, I don't know. We'll see.
Jay, when you mentioned you do all the editing and all the uploading and everything, are you an analytics guy at all? Do you pay attention to any of that YouTube stuff and check in on how your videos are doing and everything?
Constantly.
All the time.
Oh, really?
I actually love it.
I love the numbers too.
Yeah, not in a weird obsessive way, but like I love understanding why something's working or not working, you know, and just the sort of left brain side of like, okay, hey, you know, these two things seem very similar, but one of them is doing really well. Like, why? why is it happening? And trying to look at, you know, where, you know, sometimes like a random website will, you know, share a piece of our content, and we can kind of track that and go out and thank them and reach out to them and stuff like that. So yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I can see where there must be some crossover audience there, because you have a couple of skateboarding ones that performed really well. I mean, obviously the half pipe one is one of your most popular ones, and then you made a longboard too, which also has got some really good views on that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's just a thing with skaters and creepy stuff. They all go together.
I think so.
There's definitely a little bit of that. We also have a very like segmented kind of all over the place audience too. You know, that just comes with the territory.
Is there anything that would be like completely off limits? Something that would be like, yeah, there should be like pushing the limits on what might be good taste that you have thought about, and maybe, nah, probably better not.
For Halloween stuff?
Yeah.
We try and stay away from things that are too, I don't know, gory, I guess. Like, so we'll probably won't do any like corpsing things or anything that, like, we like to keep it Disneyland friendly. Like,
Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Or like I often think about Pirates of the Caribbean, the movies, as like a kind of a benchmark for like it's creepy, and it's, you know, there's undead skeletons and stuff like that, but it's not like, you know, gross blood spraying everywhere, that kind of thing. That's you know, not really our style. We try to keep it a bit more you know, whatever that, just
in the realm of fantasy rather than...
It's all in the tone, how it's delivered,
and it can bring a consistency to what you're doing too, which often helps with things like even at your house. You know, if you've got a 50-foot yard, and you've got like clowns, and then you've got pirates, and then you got witches, and then you got like mummies. It's like, I mean, that's cool, and but it can often create this entire scene if everything's in a similar kind of style, you know.
Right.
And I think that's something we've, at least for our own personal stuff at home, we've tried to, each year we add to like we've got like a Pirates of the Caribbean, like swampy witch kind of thing. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially with kids coming around trick-or-treating, you want to keep that sort of lighthearted with a little bit of scare factor, I suppose, to it, you know. I don't want to freak out too many.
You know, plenty of people do this super crazy, scary thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. It's just kind of not our style.
Have you ever been to one of these extreme haunts? Have you heard about these things?
I've heard about them. I have not. We have not been to one.
Not your thing. I haven't either. It's like where they actually like boom, practically attack you in there. So you have to like sign a waiver, like I may get injured.
Do you remember the haunted hayride in Los Angeles?
Yeah,
there was. That each year. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a haunted hayride in Griffith Park. We used to do that, but we haven't actually been. I haven't been through like a walkthrough haunted house in like, I don't know, 10+ years. It's been a while.
We need to find something. And now that we're in Texas, people do like corn mazes and crazy stuff like that, you know, are just ultra creepy.
Right.
We should go to one.
I know.
Research.
That,
yeah. You gotta do some research. I want you guys to make a full-scale haunted house. You guys into scary movies at all? I know you like Nightmare Before Christmas, but you know, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
I love scary movies. It's really hard to get Jay to watch them with me, but
really,
so now I have to watch them alone.
That's not true. No.
What are some of your favorites?
Cabin in the Woods is great.
Yeah.
I love that movie too.
Exorcist.
The Shining.
Classics.
The original It scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
I also loved the new ones though too.
Yeah, the new ones are great. Also Candyman when I was a kid. That was one of those ones that really impacted me. So I'm excited to see the new one that's coming out.
I think I still have nightmares about Chucky too. Just like dolls. Like remember in the 80s there were all those like creepy dolls movies, you know, like just that scarred me forever.
That was kind of a thing, wasn't it, for a while? And now here you are making scary props and things.
How about yourself, Steve? What's your go-to horror movie?
Oh wow, I like all horror movies, but lately I kind of came up with a subgenre called hard horror. That's what I call it, where it's like horror that takes itself real seriously. It's not played for fun. It's not lighthearted, but it's really cool. And those are kind of hard to come by because sometimes it's hard to get that tone right. But I really liked Saint Maud, which came out last year, and Censor came out this year, about the censorship of scary movies in England in the 80s, and those were really good. And I like a lot of the old school stuff. I've got Friday the 13th stuff back here, and Nightmare, and all of those. They're fun too. I like it all.
Is there an opposite spectrum of that too, which is like the most ridiculous tongue-in-cheek like horror movie? Like
Evil Dead?
Yeah, I love
Evil Dead is
movies.
Spectacular. Oh my god. Yeah, I do too. I like those too. Evil Dead is just such a classic. And Evil Dead 2, really. Actually, all three of those are fantastic.
Or like the Rob Zombie movies, you know? Like Grindhouse and stuff. Like those are super cool. But then there's movies like the whole Saw series. Like I can't even watch those. It's just like, man, that is... I don't want anything to do with watching those movies, but all the fake wild, like, you know, Evil Dead type stuff, love it.
Here's a movie you got to see then, is Velocipaster.
I saw
amazing.
the ad for it, but I haven't watched it yet.
This is the most. I talked to the director and the guy who made that movie, because I'm like, I got to get in on this. If you're going to do a sequel, I want in on this. But he hasn't made it. He's thinking about making a sequel, but it's just so corny and fun and just ridiculously bad. It's just one of those that is just so bad. I think that you know, that you hear like the so bad it's good kind of thing, but it's kind of hard to get that, because you have to kind of not try to be so bad it's good, you know, to end up being that way. Yeah. But yeah, that one was a lot of fun. Yeah, I watched too many scary. I always try to make a Halloween video every year, and it's like my lowest rated videos ever. Hardly anybody watches the Halloween videos, you know, but I still crank them out every year.
So fun though, right? Yeah.
It is. I made a coffin one year. That was one of my favorite ones to do. It was a full scale coffin, and I kind of did the same thing like what you talk about. I wanted it to look old and rickety, and so it was kind of fun to build that way, to build something with like boards all askew and, you know, kind of rusted nails and hitting things wrong, and it's really cool.
But also is going to stay together, which you know, from a woodworking perspective is actually really challenging, because like you want it to look like it's falling apart but not fall apart.
Yeah.
And then you want to be able to pull it out every season, and or in the case of something like the Portal, which is massive, you know, we have to be able to store that. So we had to build it in a way where it can come apart and, you know, break apart into big sections. Same with woodworking stuff, you know, like you want to be able to preferably disassemble it and kind of put it all back together and have it last, you know, a few seasons, but still look like it's going to fall apart at any moment.
Right.
So
yeah, that's the challenge, is because you're not making a thing, you're making a prop, you know. It's different than making the actual thing that you would be making, yeah. Do you guys have any, like, dream project you want to make? Or is there anything you can clue me in on that's coming up soon? Or is it all hush-hush secret?
It's a little hush-hush for this year.
Okay.
Dream project, though.
Dream project.
I want to do... This is not something we're doing this year. That's why it's a dream project. But I want to do like a magic mirror, like a Snow White magic mirror that is similar. So it's like a combination of like a Halloween prop, but also a smart mirror with like the the reverse imagery, but combining what we were talking about earlier, where it actually talks to you using like real-time facial animation type stuff. So it's like a combination of like 4 or 5 things we've done mashed into one. So it's one of those projects where it's like just a little too much every time, you know, and we haven't quite taken the plunge yet.
I wanted to make a guillotine, like a full-size guillotine that would like look real, but somehow it would have to have like a cutout so it stops, you know. Obviously, I don't really want to cut people's heads off, but that would be, again, this would be a very bad thing. So, but yeah, but I just haven't really figured out how that would work and have it look kind of good. I thought that would be a cool one. One year I made like a stockade, you know, where you put your hands in your head.
Yeah, nice.
But I was like so concerned about safety that the hand holes are so big, you can just easily put your hands in and out. Sure. So it's not locking you in. Which is
great. That's a good idea. Yeah.
My dad made when we were kids, he made some props for our own, like, he humored us, and he made a haunted house in our garage, and a guillotine was one of the props he made. And he did not have the cutout for the head. And like thinking back on it, this was the most dangerous prop ever.
Wow.
And like it went down fast.
Wow. Sounds like something your dad would make.
Yes. I don't know what he was thinking.
Just don't let go of the rope.
But it was awesome.
Man.
Did you ever see, this was probably like 3 or 4 years ago, but you know Paul Jackman?
Sure.
And he made the giant utility knife.
Oh, right.
And Jimmy DiResta made the big blade for him, I think, right? Was it Jimmy?
I think so.
Anyway, there you go. Work with them and make a giant, you know.
Guillotine.
Giant blade.
Yeah.
Actually, don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Well, you two have given me so much enjoyment watching your videos, and I just want to thank you for all of that. And I am always looking forward to seeing what you come up with next, because I know it's going to be spectacular to watch.
Well, thanks for having us. This has been a lot of fun, and we love your channel. We love your podcast. So thank you very much for having us. It's been great.
Hey, I want to thank all of you for joining me on this extra spooky episode of the Woodworking Talk Show. Have a happy Halloween, everybody.